let's go back to where we started. If we shouldn't correct and we don't want to drive ourselves crazy, what are good examples? Like you said about the dog.
Right.
The dog's not there. There's no dog here.
Right.
But in my mind, in my brain, there's a dog.
Right.
Maybe my childhood dog is there.
Right.
I see
Right.
it. I
Right.
feel it.
Right.
I'm acknowledging it. And families don't want to, oh, you're crazy. Never say that.
Never say,
Say
or don't
that.
say they're not there. Have the person talk about it. Or our favorite thing that we hear all the time is, what's for dinner? What's for dinner?
Yes.
And you're going to tell me chicken. And okay, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? Every single time, whether it's the first or the 18th or the 35th time I ask you that in a 1 minute or 1 hour span, it's the first time I've asked that question. Every answer you give me, it's the first time I've heard it.
Yep.
And I am going to know when you say chicken versus chicken, right? So maybe the third time, the fourth time, however long your patience lets you play out, you say, chicken, you love it. You love it. We're going to have baked chicken, the kind that you taught me to make, the kind with the, and then fill it in, excuse me.
Yeah.
I talk too much.
Nope, that's great. So much information.
Those kinds of things where, excuse me, where you try to stay within the context of the question, but kind of lead them to a different place.
Right.
And it will work for a little bit, but tomorrow they'll say, what's for dinner again too. But you'll get more efficient at leading them away from that loop that they're stuck in, because it's kind of like that loop, right?
Or another common one, even though they're home, right? They'll say, I want to go home.
I want to go home.
Mom, you are home. Dad, you are home.
What home? And that's probably not the question we want to ask, but we want to think that immediately. Ooh, what home is she talking about?
Yeah.
Is she talking about her childhood home? Is she talking about the home that she lived in for 35 years with Dad, where she had all of her children and they had their families and their Christmases?
Yep.
What home is she talking about? So we want to try to figure that out.
Yeah.
Is that the Dayton, Ohio home? Or is that, try to figure that out. If you cannot, and it becomes that insistent loop, I'm leaving, I'm going to go home now, I'm leaving now. Mom, I know you don't want to be here. I know you don't. But I've looked around and it's pretty nice here, it's clean here, and the food is okay here, and they're willing to let us have some of their food, and I have a really wicked headache. So let's stay here just for tonight, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Yeah. And that will often work. You're giving the person what they need.
Yeah.
I'm leaving now, I'm going to go to work.
Yeah.
Mom, you haven't worked in 30 years.
Yes.
What do you mean I haven't worked in 30 years? I raised you, I paid for everything, right?
Avoid all that.
Right. Oh my gosh. And I'm putting my hands up here on purpose. I want you to focus on my face. I am so sorry, Mom. I can't believe I forgot to tell you. Work called. And then fill in something plausible to what she last did.
Yes.
The flight got canceled if she traveled. They're doing inventory. The store is closed.
Yeah.
Something plausible. But then immediately come along and say, but I need your help here, and have something. That's what I mean when I say, when we know better, we do better. I know that I am probably going to face this situation.
Yeah.
So you are so good at fill in the blank, helping me ward the plants, then go move to that right away.
Exactly.
So being a care partner is a lot of work. That's why you need to take a break and take good care of yourself too.
Because you're constantly compromising, or you should be constantly
You should be.
Yeah.
Should be. Meeting your person where they are sounds good, but it is hard work.
It is. Yeah.
It is hard work.
Being creative, and accepting it. A lot of family members don't want to accept that, that norm.
Some important things to keep in mind that are good techniques are what kind of music helps your person calm down. You might want to know what kind keeps them excited, maybe someday, but you also want to know what makes them sad. I always tell people, don't play Ave Maria for me.
Yeah, that's
because,
no, don't do
we
that.
played that at my mother's funeral. Don't play that. So if you want, and if you don't know, especially if you're a paid caregiver, if you're in a setting you don't know, start with Mozart. Don't ask me why. I call it magic music, but start with Mozart, because that will help people maintain and maybe even return to calm.
Yeah.
And the other one that people usually like to hear is the smallest amount, like 1 ounce, of the darkest chocolate the person will tolerate. The cleanest, if you will. As much as my mother loved Hershey's Special Dark, I'm talking more about something like HU that's just very, very plain. The catch for both of those is you have to get it on the ears or in the body before the distress starts to increase, right? So we want to know the patterns or the things we say triggers, right? If you know that, oh gosh, the third daughter is coming and she's just going to upset this person, well, let's get some music on and get some chocolate going, because you can't keep the kid away from her mother, right? Those kinds of things. Anyways, as you can tell, you have to pay me to shut me up.
No. The more information for our viewers to understand, because a lot of times they're very frustrated, or they're blaming themselves. And we don't want them blaming themselves, you know, or they don't want to accept the fact that their person is just not who they were yesterday, not who they were last year, and this is the new norm.
One of the things that I've used for a metaphor, I had a professor at Syracuse University who firmly believed in metaphors. And if we think about the old style incandescent bulb, you know, not the new modern long burning ones, and if you put it in the socket, but you don't get it seated correctly, the electricity, the connection will be not as strong as it should be consistently. So maybe the bulb will burn bright. Maybe somebody will bump the lamp and now it flickers. And maybe the connection's broken for a little bit and it goes dark altogether. That's a pretty good metaphor for day, maybe even within a day, but being tired, being in pain, being hungry for a particular type of food, right? Those are a noise. Startle. We know, oh my gosh, we work hard to never startle our people. Those are all things that can cause those dramatic hyper responses to the environment that are very distressful.
Absolutely. And you know what's funny? My family member said, oh, she has a great memory. She can remember things back 20, 30 years ago. That she doesn't have Alzheimer's. Because she can remember when she was 14. Can you explain that?
And that sometimes you'll walk into those better memory care areas and you'll see pictures of young people at the door, because that helps that elderly resident with Alzheimer's disease recognize, oh yeah, this is where I live, right? That's also, that's also what happens sometimes in reverse when I turn to you and say, you're not my daughter, because my daughter in my mind is 6 years old, right? So that's when we start to remind those intimate folks, right? Probably you want to come away from saying, hi, Mom, it's Veronica, and just say, hey, Edith, it's Veronica, right? She will understand, she'll remember your tone of voice, the fact that you look at her lovingly, even though she doesn't know, doesn't recall that you are her daughter any longer. Our folks really, really will respond to tone of voice, being generally loose. So we teach people that, right? Stay loose, keep a smile on your face. What's going on in the brain to cause that? There's all sorts of different explanations. I don't really think there's a strong clinical explanation, but if you think about what's going on clinically, the brain is changing. In Alzheimer's disease in particularly, there's atrophy. That means it's shrinking. And the average brain is from 13 to 15 grams, 1,500 grams, 1,300 to 1,500 grams. People don't like this, but it looks like a head of cauliflower, right? That kind of thing. I had somebody say, great, now I'll never eat cauliflower. But with the progression of these illnesses, it actually shrinks and it starts to open up, if you will. So you have these deep valleys and the ventricles start to open up, and the areas that control parts of what we do. Here, right? Frontal temporal area, that's our social skills, if you will, right? So those things are happening. With Lewy body dementia, again, it depends on where it is. Now, conversely, Lewy body dementia doesn't always have a memory issue, right? They have quite good memory sometimes, those folks. So when we say that people can remember things, she remembered what she wore in first grade, but does she remember what she had for breakfast yesterday? Well, no, but neither do I. But what that is saying is that what's left that's working well in the brain are those things that have been there the longest. And that's a really imperfect way of explaining that, but it is a very complex thing to say.
No, it's true. That's a really great explanation, because we do get those that, well, you know, are not in denial, but just don't understand what's going on.
We don't understand. We don't want this to be happening.
Yes.
Who does?
Right.
For anyone that's listening to this that has had to deal personally, you know, I was severely injured once upon a time. Boy, I didn't want that to happen.
Right.
I didn't want to have to deal with the recovery. I didn't want it. Didn't change anything.
Right.
So I can fight it, or I can listen to the experts, the professionals, the people that truly know. And so here I am, chattering away like a magpie and walking, thank you. So that's, you know, that's the way we look at these things. It's a little bit different when we're talking about something that is terminal, because even though we don't like that word, these are progressively terminal illnesses.
Yeah.
But let's focus on living through this voyage instead of waiting to go.
Exactly.
Right.
And then acknowledging and accepting the education and trying some of these at home or wherever, you know, like you said, if you're moving your loved one into a memory care and you're visiting this memory care and I want to go home, but going into their world, or I need to go to work today. Go with it.
Go with it. Again, the dignity, because in that person's mind, that is very real.
Yes.
You know, just because you can't see the dog doesn't mean it's not there.
Now, there are some sons that have their mom sees them as the husband.
Yep, that
and
happens.
They get frustrated. No, Mom, I'm not your husband. Don't kiss me that way. What would you say to them?
I would say to them that you just recognize that it's not in her control, and you may very well look like her young husband.
Yes.
And yeah, I wouldn't want my mom kissing me on my mouth in that way or anything like that. But what you can do is just gently keep your head away, allow the hug because it is your mom, and just accept and recognize. And if there's things like, well, if she's saying, well, when we were on our honeymoon, I don't recall that. Because I was born in 1967 or whenever they were born, right? So I don't recall that. So it's okay to try a little gentle reorienting, right? The other thing that we do run into is the sexual, right, interactions of people. And, you know, I had someone just ask me a little while ago, well, my father is making my sister-in-law very nervous because he's becoming very sexually forward with her. And what we try to do is find what works to stop that.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit off the mark, but I had a spouse say, they're wearing me out, right? And I said, well, does anything work to not have that happen that day? And the response was, well, yeah, I just say that I have a headache or I have this other ache or pain. So then do it.
Yeah.
So find what works to interrupt it and do it. Extreme, and I don't really recommend this, but if it is really that extreme, then you might want to remove yourself from the situation, talk to a physician who is skilled in the world of dementia, and maybe try the lowest dose of the mildest form of an anti-anxiety medications for the shortest amount of time.
I like how you said a skilled physician, not just any physician. Oh, Mom's been going to the same doctor for 40 years. Well, maybe they're not skilled in dementia.
Exactly. Hi, my mom's got dementia. Okay, who said that? Well, the ER doc.
Right.
No,
exactly.
No. They're excellent. They aren't physicians because they're not smart.
Right.
Excuse me, but this is a complex illness. And the other thing that's important to know about people, healthcare professionals who are skilled in the world of dementia, is you don't need to be a neurologist.
Yeah.
You know, some of the finest ones in our area are not neurologists.
Yeah.
But they have spent their careers in the world of the dementias, and they do know what they're doing better than, you know, there's a neurologist outside of our area who likes to say things like, yeah, yep, you got Alzheimer's disease. Nothing I can do for you. Just go home and get your affairs in order.
That's not what, that is not the skilled
No.
neurologist that you need to be working
So
with.
you need to get a new doc.
Yes,
You know.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
as we're showing, this is an incredibly complex world.
Yeah.
But that's why you and I are here.
Yeah, and it's become a passion. I mean, I work with several seniors, but it's been a passion because I just feel for the care partners, the caregivers who have to deal with this on an ongoing basis. And I just want to acknowledge that they're not alone.
Right.
And that there are resources out there.
There are resources. And sometimes that irritation that the family, and when I say family, I mean intimate circle. It doesn't have to be blood or marriage.
Right.
But when family members are like, Veronica, if you ask me that one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. That is a little bit of a gift, because that's telling you, care partner, you need a break.
Yeah.
You need to stop. Somebody else must step in and take over for you, whether it's your cranky sister, you know, 3 states away. Maybe, depending on the circumstances, maybe you hire somebody to come in for a little bit.
Especially with the guide program.
Yes,
now, the respite
yes.
program.
Excuse me. But you need to recognize that irritation with your person is a warning sign for you that you are too stressed and overworked, and you need to do something for yourself.
Right. I wasn't going to go here, but recently in Central Florida, there was a husband who was caring for his wife with Alzheimer's and dementia. And before they mentioned that she had Alzheimer's and dementia, when I read that this elderly person had unfortunately done something to where his wife is no longer here, unalived her, I should say, I knew he's a stressed care partner. And she probably had some form of dementia just before they even said anything. I just read it and I knew. Yeah. And so the next day, the article said he's been arrested, and she did in fact have that diagnosis. And I really felt for him in a way, because I'm like, he should have understood that there are resources available. Maybe he didn't have anyone else to help him. Who knows that deep of a situation, but we see it all the time.
We see it too often.
And it was just a very sad story and situation. And now he even said when he was speaking to the judge, like,
I'd rather be in prison. That's what struck me when I was called. I'd rather be in prison than deal with her dementia.
Yes.
If that is not the epitome of ultra stressed, I don't know what is.
Yeah. And we don't want any care partner or caregiver to get to that level ever.
One of the things I said about that time is, first off, it's hard to say know the resources if you're kind of caught up in that, I don't want to deal with this, right? But, excuse me, you do have to learn the resources. But what also, and people don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway, tell everyone.
Yes.
Tell everyone. Yes. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, your golfing buddies, your card playing buddies, whatever you do, your fishing buddies. Yep, my wife has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, because they are going to do one or two things. One, they're going to pull away, and, you don't need as harsh as I sound, good riddance to bad rubbish. The rest, and they will be the majority, are going to say, how can I help? Yeah. And you are going to learn ways to give them tasks that they can do that will actually help you, right? And if you simply say, even to the smallest outside group, my wife's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, if it's more than 3 or 4 people, they're going to say, oh my gosh, that happened in our family too. Here's what helped. Yes. So my heart went out to him, because in my head, my fiction created this man who kept it to himself, the pressure cooker built and built and built, and he had the means to what he may have thought was a mercy. Right. Years ago, like 15 or more, we had something like that happen in DeLand, but, and it was the same situation. The wife had the diagnosis because women are the leaders for diagnosis for Alzheimer's disease anyways, the ones most frequently diagnosed. And he had her, unalived her, yeah, that's a new word I forget to use, and then did the same thing to himself, where this person didn't do that.
Right.
Now, all we can say is, and I'm not picking on the doc, but whoever said she had Alzheimer's disease, one would hope, we don't know, would have said, and here are some resources.
Yes.
If only the Alzheimer's Association, because that's what I said. The Alzheimer's Association, they have a hotline with a master's trained therapist on the end of that hotline.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important for you, me, and all of our friends who are educating the care partners and caregivers to continue on this journey, and for the families to take advantage of as many resources as possible.
There's so many out there. There's so many out there. There's support groups, they're online, they're in person. We've already said the trainings. Every single county in the United States is served by an area agency on aging.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean there's one in every county,
right.
but by federal law, the entire country is served by an area agency on aging.
Yeah.
Here in Florida, we have, 11 planning and service areas with 11 different agencies. In some states, that duty is taken over by the State Department on Aging. But my point is, call somebody.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
And keep calling if they don't call you back, because we hear that. Don't we? Oh, I called them and they never called me back. Call again.
Call again. Keep calling.
Find
Tell
out,
someone.
do you have a 211 in your area? That's like a 911 is emergency, 211 is for information on seniors. Kick, scream, and holler and get the help you need.
Call your local memory care community. They may have resources too. You may not be able to move your loved one into a memory care for whatever resource, because it is private pay, but take advantage of anything that's free.
Adult day centers. And it's private pay here in Florida.
Yes.
So if people outside of Florida are listening to us, don't assume
Yes.
that there isn't help there, because other states do it differently.
Exactly.
I don't know of any state, though, that uses Medicare.
No.
Medicaid can be used in
Medicaid.
different ways in different states. So recognize that you are not in control of what you've just been told, and immediately recognize you cannot do this alone.
Exactly.
Even VA has some beautiful programs, right?
Exactly.
For people. And I say even VA because it can be real tricky
Yeah.
to get the services that you've earned.
Right.
Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. Is that fair? No. Doesn't change anything.
Right.
It will make a difference in the quality of your life, your sense of well-being.
How can our viewers reach out to you and learn more from you?
Oh, you can email me. It's a tricky email, and I apologize. It's DementiAbility. It's one word, DementiAbility, and the number 1 @gmail.com.
And we'll put it at the bottom here.
Okay, good. That'll work. Emailing me is the best, because I have this quirky phone system that if you're not in my phone, you can't ring through. But if you email me, we can establish contact.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy to answer questions and talk in person. I shouldn't say generally, go into people's homes at this point, but we can use virtual easily.
Absolutely. I thank you so much for being here. We could
for
go
having me.
on and on and
We
on
can.
and on. There's so
We
many
can.
topics,
We
but
can.
this was very helpful, and I think it'll be helpful for our viewers as well.
Good.
Just a
Thank
good
you.
start.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.